Okay, so today then I'm going to show you how I built this boot room unit inside of CABS. CABS is my very own cabinet making software. I built this myself from my home office, and the idea behind this YouTube channel, or this YouTube series shall we say, is just showing you how I build my units inside of the program. So let's get into it and let's show you what I did. So first thing I'm going to do is start a new project, and we're going to come into the room builder. I'm not going to talk too much about the room builder today. There will be other videos on how you use the room builder. So for this video, I'm just going to add a quick wall. I'm just going to leave it at 2.4 by 2.4, and I'm going to go continue to design. So that gives us our wall. This is the wall that we're going to work on. And so the first thing that we're going to do when we're here is we're going to set out some guidelines for our top and bottom fillers. So I'm not using back end filler margins for this. I've actually put these in myself. So I'm just going to do these at 120, and then I'm also going to do a 50mm one off of this wall, and I will put 50mm one off of this wall as well. Although thinking about it, there's going to be an overlap filler here on this one, so I'm actually going to erase that one, and I'm just going to put a 32mm snap line on this one. So that's where my margins are for my fillers and for my cabinets basically. So now I'm just going to go ahead and bring in my first cabinet. So again, I'm not going to talk to you about building out your back end library. This isn't about that. This video is about building out the front end. So I'm going to bring in this unit here. This is just a double hanging unit. It's the one that I used in the example. And I'm just going to grab my flex tool. Again, mine are on shortcuts, so set up your shortcuts in the shortcut section here. Assign whatever letter on your keyboard you want, just to kind of speed up the process. So I'm going to bring my flex tool in, and I'm just going to make the unit the right height. That will snap to the snap lines, hence the reason they're called snap lines. Spacebar to deselect any tool, and then I'm just going to move this over to the 50mm snap line, or you could type 50mm and it'll move it 50mm. So there we go, that is the unit. I'm going to make the unit 1200mm wide for this, and then I'm going to do the boot section here. Actually, that looks a little bit wide. Let's keep it at a meter. We'll do it like that. Okay, so that's the first section. I'm then going to add my filler, so I get my filler button, and I haven't got that on a shortcut at the moment. Tap this side of the unit because this is where I want that filler to be. Going to get my flex tool here and extend this out, and we will want this to be, you can just type it in here as well, we want that to be a 50mm filler, and then I will just snap it back to where it was. And then again, I'll get my flex tool and just send this up, and that will snap into the ceiling automatically, and if I send it down, it will snap into the floor automatically. So that's the filler done there. Going to get another filler, put one at the top, again straight away jump into the flex tool and just extend that one up, and I'm going to get another filler and put one at the bottom, and again jump straight into the flex tool and just extend that one down. So that's the fillers set there, like so. I want there to be a filler on the right hand side as well, so I could either add another filler here, or I can just come over and duplicate this one and just slide it over. Next, we've got a panel here that goes floor to ceiling. Now you can use a free panel at this stage if you want to and resize it. So you could bring a panel in like this, you could get your flex tool, do that, you could rotate it around and add the panel. I'm not actually going to do it like that. The quickest way I've found to add panels like this is just grab your end panel tool, slap an end panel on the end here, then grab your flex and snap it up to the ceiling, snap it down, because this particular panel is going right down to the floor, and then all I would do is just drag it over, and there we go. That's just a really quick way of doing things. Now, I'm not renaming these panels in this tutorial, but you can come into your panel settings here, and you can name them whatever you want, and then obviously whatever you name them, that will come through to the cutting list and for the DXF file as well. But for now, I'm not going to name them, I'm just going to leave them as they are. So that's going to be the panel there for our seating area. I'm then going to duplicate that over, and I'm going to snap it to the outside of that line, like so. No, actually we changed it to 32, didn't we? So I'll snap it to the inside of that line there. So that's that. I'm then going to duplicate this filler again, and I'm going to use the same filler over here. So there we go. That is like that. Now, we didn't actually need this to go all the way to the ceiling because we want to put a top panel in there. So I'm just going to bring it down to here a second. So it's flush with the top of the cabinet, and then I want to step it up by the thickness of the cabinet so that when my filler goes across it, it's basically the same size as this filler here. So I'm just going to extend it up by 18. And then what I want to do is I want to flex this one down to the same, not the filler, the panel here. So if I grab that and flex that down to, that'll go to that snap point. There we go. So that's now snapped into the same height as there, which is really nice. I'm going to hide my snaps for a minute. I'm not going to delete them. I'm just going to hide them because I might need them in a little while. So I'm just going to hide them for now so I can just see what I'm doing a little bit clearer. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add a free panel in. I'm going to lay it down flat, and then I'm going to pop it up here. The way that I'm going to put it up there is I'm going to use join by corner. Now if I press J, because I've set up J for join by corner, and I'm going to snap that into there like so. And then I'm just going to get the flex tool, extend it over and bring it backwards as well. Okay, so that's the section there. But in the other example I did, we actually had this section sat back a little bit. So I'm going to, where shall I do that? I'll leave this end panel full, and then I will push this end panel back, I think. So if we are going to do that, I need to kind of contradict what I was saying earlier. This one does need to go up to the ceiling in order for us to do that. And then we will reduce these ones up here. And just thinking about it now, I love doing this stuff on the fly. I love making mistakes on the fly, should we say. We don't actually need this top panel, so I'm going to get rid of that, because what I did in the other one, I just brought a box in. So instead, I'm going to get a plain box that I've got in the back end. And I'm just going to maneuver it around a little bit. Like that, and then I'm going to push it back, and I'm not setting any sizes with this in terms of depths and what have you. I'm just doing this a little bit roughly. Obviously when you're doing this, you can spend a lot more time doing it. And then I'm just going to bring that up to that snap, to snap in to where that panel is there, so that's nice. I'm then going to move this filler back, and on this one I'm going to flex that end panel back so it's like that. Yeah, okay, that's better. We can then add a top filler to this like we did before with a filler button. Jump straight on the flex tool, flex it up to the ceiling. It's already in the correct position there, so that's all done and nice. And then we had our seating area that we did down below, and I did this with 3 panels, and to be fair, the seating area could do with being a little bit bigger really, couldn't it? So let's do I'll just leave that there roughly, that's fine. And then I'm going to move this forward to meet that. Just snap that in there. Forward as well. A little bit of messing around, and snap those into there as well. Okay, cool. So that's that bit all set up now, done and dusted. So for the seating area, I did a 3 panel. So I'm going to unhide my snaps a minute, and I'm going to put a snap line up here, and I want the underside of the seating panel to be about 400 because we're going to put a cushion on there as well. So what I need to do is grab a 3 panel, come into the settings, and again you would change the name of this to bench seat like top or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to bring that down to the snap line and make sure I'm the right side of the snap line, which I am there. That's cool. Just going to bring it over, snap it into the side, grab my flex tool again, push that back and extend it over to this side, and then that is going to sit there. I quite like the fact that that's sat back on the filler a little bit, so that's quite nice. And then I'm going to create maybe like a 50mm thickness on this. So that's that bit done. And then what I had, I'm going to just hide those snaps again. Then I had some slats in this. So I'm going to put those in. So again, I did those with a free panel. So I'm just going to push the free panel back to the wall first, like that. I'm just going to make sure it's where I want it. That's fine, it is. I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to get my flex tool again, snap it to the seat, and I want this to be 60mm wide, and then just move it back over there. And then what I do is duplicate this, bring it over to the other side, and then we're going to grab our target divide tool. We're going to click that one, and then I don't know, maybe I want like 14 in there, and then that's going to space 14 slats in between those two nice and evenly, and I'll leave it like that. That's fine. You can play around with the sizes and what have you. So there we go. That is that bit, and then there was a couple of upright dividers in here, and there was a couple of dividers in this top section as well, and then we just need to add the cornice and the skirting. So let's do the dividers now. So I'll put the dividers in here first. So I'm going to get a free panel, I'm going to rotate it around, and I'm going to move it up so it snaps into place there, and get the back to snap into place. You guessed it, going to grab the flex tool and just bring that up so that snaps in as well. Let's just have a look, a little bit of a zoom in to get that right. That doesn't want to snap that way, and I don't know why. That's a bit interesting. Let's go into our settings and see what the height of this is. So it's 435. So instead, if it doesn't want to snap, I'm just going to type 417 in there, and you've got to remember this is still a beta, so there will be some little snags like this on it, and then I'll be able to just snap that up to the top. I'm then just going to bring those out like this, and click that one out and place them like this. Now you could target divide that to get that spot on. However, for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do them like that, and then all I'm going to do is exactly the same as I've just done up there. I'm going to do that down the bottom as well, and it actually might be easier if I just copy one of these. Not going to be the exact size it is, but it's going to be smaller than a free panel, and in the right orientation and stuff. So I'm actually going to do it like that. In the thickness, double these up for 36s, and I'll leave that one there. And again, you can target divide these. I'm just going to do them a bit freehand, and I'm going to do that there. So there we go. That's our main kind of structure. We're then going to do our cornice. So we just need to get our cornice and then lay the path out for it. Should have a little zoom in. Make sure I've got that on the right path. When you finished your path, you just hit enter. So there we go, that's our cornice. And then I'm just going to do a skirting as well, and I probably should have done that before I did these dividers, but I'm going to try and just run it in front of them and see what happens, see if it looks scribed or not, shall we? If you hold down shift when you're doing your skirting and cornice paths, it will keep everything on a locked axis for you. There we go. So that's placed the skirting in now as well. So all that's left to do on this is just add some doors. So I can hit my add door button. I'm going to do that, and I'll leave the doors in that style. That's fine. In actual fact, let's go to the doors, and let's go to bespoke and put the fluted arch on, because that's the doors that I had in the example. I'm going to raise that mid-rail height on those a little bit. Do I want them a bit thicker? We'll leave them like that. That's cool. So now we're just going to pop some finishes on, and then the unit is done. I can see that top is actually overhanging a little bit. That one's bringing back and snapping into there. That's better. Okay, cool. So let's put some finishes in. So we come up to the finishes tab here, general finishes. So I want all of the doors, the free panels and everything the same color. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the color that I want. It was card room green, but we can do it in this one here if we want. So if we say all the doors that'll do the cornice and the skirting as well. And then we say all of the free panels, and we do the carcasses as well, because that's going to change that carcass up there. So that's going to do that. Now I can then say done, but then I want a wood grain on this top, so I'm going to change that to a wood grain, and I'm going to toggle the grain the other way. Great thing about toggling grain is when you do that, it will turn it in the cutting list. So if you've got grain follows length, if you toggle it in the drawing, it's going to toggle it in the cutting list as well. So that's that. I then might just hide the doors here, and I might just go to this. Just thinking now, I might just put these as a wood grain as well. Need to toggle that back, and then put those as a wood grain there. So it might be that the internal carcasses were like that. Looking under here, this probably wants a panel to cap this off. Really quick way of doing a panel here is you get a filler and you put it underneath like that, and then just grab your flex tool. You could just flex that back as a panel, and then you would just have a look in your settings, and you would just change the name of that from filler. You would just change it to like under panel or something like that. Again, come into the finishes, and let's find the color that we were using, make sure that's all the right color. The other thing I added was some hooks, didn't I? So what I want to do is, again, I'll just add a free panel, and I'll move this across, snap it into there. We will flex it to there so that it snaps. I'm then just going to turn off that flex, and I'm going to push it back to those slats there. I think it's gone back a little bit too far. I'm going to move it up to the top, and again I'm going to flex that and have it somewhere like that. Just going to pop into the finishes. I'm going to put the same wood grain we used on the seat, and I'm going to toggle the grain of that as well. Okay, cool. And then if we come into the library, I actually made some hooks, so we can grab our hooks like this. They're a little bit big, and they have settings as well, so you can make them a bit smaller if you want to. I also want them brass, so we change the colour of them here, and then I just need to get in there and just push them back like that. Sometimes they're quite hard to grab. Things can be hard to grab when it's inside little alcoves like this, but if you come and whack the settings, that'll grab it for you. And then I'm going to grab it again. I need to get it like this. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm just going to space these out like this. Ooh, I want to duplicate that one. I want to duplicate the hook, not the panel. So do that. Duplicate that one. And again, I've actually set it up so these work on target divide as well. So you could actually space these evenly with target divide. Cool. Go back to my doors, enable them on cabinet 1. What's missing? Handles. Come into your accessories, turn the handles on. That will turn the handles on for those doors. I'm going to put them to knobs, brass, and I'm just going to centralize them on the edge there, and then I'm just going to lift them up and plant them somewhere in there like that. So there we go. That is the boot room design done. What I might also do is, and I did this on the other one, if I go to finishes and I go to room finish, I want to get the wall, and I'm just going to pick the same color as the cabinet so that the wall is the same color. It's actually made it a little bit darker, isn't it? Just blend that off a little bit. Cool. So there we go. That's it. That's the boot room cabinet done. That's how I did it. So there we go then, that's the design complete there. Obviously you could then go and render this either in the front end render, or you could screenshot it out and do it in the back end render studio where you've got a little bit more control over things. But that is pretty much how I would design this boot room. If you're not already on CABS and you would like to get on it, there is a link in the description where you can join up. As I say, it is a beta, so there is still some snagging items going on with it. It's constantly being developed as well, which is great. It's available on PC, laptop, it's available on iPad. It's not a light version on iPad, it's the same version as you've seen here today. And it really is a fantastic piece of software. So that wraps up the video. Thank you so much for joining, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.